Here we are again.
For the last episode of our Real Talk series. Can you believe it?
Is it? Are you sure? Are you sure this isn't 18?
I think this is
or
19.
19?
Yeah.
So then wouldn't the next one be the last one if it's 20?
Or wouldn't that be the start of a new series? We start at 20.
Maybe. But if we've done 10... Did we do 10 episodes?
But the first one was an introductory one, wasn't it? It was like Welcome to the Pod. Then there would have been 9. And then 9.
I get you.
So... I think so anyway. I feel
Yeah.
like that's but we can always, I mean, who's
counting?
Who's going to kick off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it feels good.
Yeah.
Feels nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Our last a nice little mini series, a nice rounder offer.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
With a new series coming next week.
Yes.
Still need to figure that out.
Yeah, we still need to decide what our new series is going to be. We've had a few ideas in the pipeline of talking about some specific topics. Maybe we'd do a whole series all about, I don't know, like...
Go on.
What about something like...
Yeah.
Code something.
Code, okay.
Like something 101. So it's like we could do like... The series could be like, I don't know, like Habits 101. And each episode we can talk about something about habit related.
Okay.
Of like, okay, what about this habit that you do every day? How to swap a bad habit for a good one. Okay. That could be another episode. I don't know, if it's something like that where it's like we go, okay, here's a big buzz thing.
Yeah. And
we break it down into 10 episodes of like deep diving into the psychology of habits. Why we're habitual creatures, why it's so hard to stop bad habits. We talk about our own bad habits. We could talk about like what, you know, why are some habits seen as like, oh, that's such a good habit. And it's like, yeah, it's just habitual, but it's good for me. But then when does that become unhealthy? Something like that.
I was thinking more like World's Dangerous Animals, and then we'll do like a countdown.
Oh, okay.
So then we'll do one episode. So we'll do some research, and then I'll do
the least dangerous animal we'd start with.
Oh no! Like it'd be like top 10 dangerous animals.
Top 10,
and then it'd be like number
dangerous.
Number 10.
How? Like as in how many humans it kills a year.
A combination.
Dangerous to the planet.
A combination.
I'm interested in that. I'm gonna lie.
And then we can do thumbnails. Could be fun. We could get like a shark on the screen. We could Photoshop a shark in.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah,
and then we also just do an episode all about the shark in general, like stories about sharks.
Yeah.
Where sharks come up in popular
Our favourite
culture.
Shark movies.
Yeah, shark related stuff.
When people have to say sharks are dangerous, though, it's like, no, sharks aren't dangerous. Humans just need to leave them alone. If you don't go out to them, they aren't dangerous to you. Whereas, like, there are some like things that are about every day that it's like, oh, that's like they're quite dangerous and they're out and about all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it's like no animal is technically dangerous because I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's us always.
I know what you mean.
Trespassing where they live.
I know what you mean. Like, yeah, and
you know.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to look at it in relation to just other animals, wouldn't you? Like, how many fish does a
Yes.
Why does that sound weird? How many fish does a shark kill on a yearly basis?
Oh, it'll be like thousands.
And then it's like, okay, so obviously,
so they're dangerous to fish.
So they're dangerous, yeah, but they would, I guess.
Well, that's the food chain, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
and they only do that.
We're probably the most dangerous animals that live on the planet because of our disgusting overconsumption and.
You've kind of ruined it now.
Oh.
That would have been number 1, wouldn't it?
Sorry, yeah.
Human, you know, it's like then we do a recap, and it'd be like, you know.
But you know what humans managed to do, like the you know, mass industrial farming, like categoric slaughter, you know.
Yeah.
No other animal does that. We're the most dangerous in that way.
No other animal could do that.
No.
You couldn't imagine. I can't imagine a giraffe walking around a abattoir with a clipboard, like with like penguins in the
yeah.
Yeah.
Penguin.
That'd be kind of surreal.
Yeah. What's your opinion on zoos and like aquariums and that?
Zoos and aquariums. I don't like them.
I don't like them.
I'll tell you why I don't like them. I don't care you broke your elbow. Remember that? Yeah.
Love that video.
That was great. That's old
Epic,
school.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think, anytime you put anything on show like that, but it's the captivity element. There's certain times where it's like, because they get certain species and they keep them to protect them, don't they?
That's like conservation.
Conservation.
Yeah.
That's fine. And then I suppose it's like if they allowed that open to the public, and maybe then that the proceeds were donated for that work, I'd be all for that.
Yeah.
But the weird thing of being like, do you want to come to a zoo and where it should be in Africa? It should be it should be running around and it's
and
here.
going and hunting and
you kind of domesticate it in a way.
You do. It gets used to like
people.
Its feeding schedule.
Yeah.
Gets used to people. And it shouldn't. It's like it's so it's such a difficult one, isn't it? Because like I eat meat, so I can't even sit here and be like, oh, it's disgusting, and it's like it's so against like Mother Nature, because in a lot of ways the way that we eat meat now is against like Mother Nature, because we don't go out and hunt the animal, skin it, pluck it, cook it. Do you know what I mean? With all the stuff, it's like so.
Do you think if we were in olden times, do you think you'd be a meat eater?
Yeah.
You would be.
I think you'd have to be.
So
in the olden times.
You'd be like, I suppose you wouldn't. Typically you wouldn't have been the hunter gatherer. You'd have been the stay at home.
I'd have been
preparer.
at home chilling me.
Well, I don't think there'd be a lot of chilling going on.
No, you're right.
What would you?
I'd have about 8 kids.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What'd you do for fun?
I don't know if fun was on the cards back in the day.
I think you're so right. Like board games.
I don't even know if sex would have been fun. Would it have just been like the duty? Depends how old we're talking.
I like the idea of like it's like the primitive thing where it's like it's caveman, cavewoman.
Yeah. And they're both like yes.
And they're both kind of in a sense it's like the woman is kind of super protective of the burrow, the nest, the kids, and she prepares the food kind of. She wouldn't really. I mean, that could be but then it's like
She probably would though. The man would bring home all the stuff.
Yeah.
She'd be then preparing it in the sense of like skinning it all, using the skin for other things.
Yeah.
Really putting that animal to like real good use.
That element sounds like, I imagine that's quite a passionate thing. It's like it's animalistic.
It is animalistic, yeah, and it's like resourceful, isn't it? It's like now you just go to the shop and get one. You don't think about anything of where that's come from, and it's like because you it'd be sad to think about that. Like,
do you think that maybe that whole thing changes like when you were saying about dutiful and stuff? Do you think that all changes when you start as time goes on? What starts to happen is an organised religion starts to creep in. I was thinking of like The Witch.
Love that movie.
It's like you can't imagine that any part of that lifestyle is enjoyable because it's all driven by this element of like we're not reproducing because we're animals and we need to. You do it because you're trying to bear.
Yeah.
You're trying
for God.
You're trying to bear a son or daughter, but hopefully son.
Hopefully a son. Yeah. In the face of God.
So
the image of God and stuff.
I think that would definitely take the spice out of.
I mean, yeah. No one looks like they're having a good time back in those days, though, do they?
They don't really. They don't.
I love the movie The Witch, though.
And that's interesting because I really don't vibe with it.
And have we sat together and watched it all the way through properly?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I know. I totally agree with you. It is bleak and it is oppressive to watch, but the dynamics of this family that are like that have been expelled, is that the right word, from like their church, their community, their village and stuff, like
banished.
They've been banished. To see them like on the edge, on the fringe of like society in that way, and how it all crumbles.
Yeah. And
how they blame the daughter.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it. Like, it's such a good study of that sort of just how you could so easily turn on your own family in that way, and because the fear of the devil was so real.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, and the movie's just incredible. Like, it's shot so incredibly.
It's just really bleak. It's super bleak. Like, I don't think there's many moments.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want everything to be like The Office, but
I know. Yeah, it kind of has to be bleak though, isn't it? It has to portray the real day to day and the fear and the oppression of it all.
It's just,
and then like the end scene's great. Oh, it's so cool.
That's kind of the best bit, because like, and I don't mean this in a misogynist way, but like the end scene is like a bunch of naked women dancing like very liberally around this huge fire. You'd be like, oh, what's going? If that was happening today, you'd be like, what's going on over there? Let's go check that out.
Exactly.
But then the rest of the film is like this, like, and I get it. It's like, you know, it's the devil, and it's like, you know, it's that weird period, and it's America, isn't it? That's where it's set.
Yeah,
but it's
New
like,
England.
But it's during the whole settlement and stuff like that.
Yeah, early colonizers and stuff. I find all that so interesting to me.
It is. What parts exactly do you find interesting? Is there any specific area that you're like, oh, you know, I like the way that looks?
I really enjoy learning about like the witch trials and stuff. Like, I find all that, it's a really interesting part of history, and it's like very like revealing of how like women's, like, you know, freedom of thought and sexuality's been like quite literally demonized. Like, they were like, oh, like, you're a demon. And then the whole thing of how it was all meant to be like, you know, your crops. It was like you had a bad crop year. It's like, oh, it's because of that woman over there. She's pretty. She turned me down once. She's a witch.
Yeah.
And then it goes through this full thing of like the courts, and it's all meant to be like really just and stuff. And it's like, no, it was like, because they couldn't obviously provide any proof, like, kind of for obvious reasons, because like I don't really believe in the existence of the devil or God. So, and not that I'm saying that, I don't know, they wouldn't find any proof though, do you know what I mean? It'd just be like hearsay, or they'd link a bad crop yield to the, like, it being like the witches, they've cursed the land and stuff.
Or it'd be so tenuous where it's like if they found certain, like, you know, herbs and spices. I don't know this for a fact, but I imagine like if they found
a woman of the woods sort of thing.
And it's like, oh, she forages, or she is very good at,
she's got a healing thing. She's like, you know, it's like women, like the idea of women being together. It was like, no, we don't like that, because there's some devil mind stuff going on of like connection and stuff. But that's why I find it so interesting, because it's like, it's so bizarre now, but back then the fear was legit. Like, it was truly the worst, scariest thing you could think of was the presence of like the devil and the corruption of the devil and stuff, and, you know, and how that then filters into like misogyny. And I find that fascinating. And any media, I guess, around that, I'm gonna be like game for. Like The Witch is a great movie, and reading about it and podcasts about it and stuff is all really cool.
I totally agree. I love the history of it, but then when I think I like to read, I think it's great, but then when I read about is great, but then when I see it, and it's that classic like filter folk, which is crazy, because I like the whole folk vibes to things, but
I get Have you seen the movie? Sorry.
No.
Have you seen the movie The Nightingale? And that's about the early colonizers who were in like
Australia,
Australia, but back then it was with like Tanzania, was it? And it was like the Aborigines. Like, I love that movie, and that's kind of not about witches or anything, but it's about like colonizers, and
I think
this like just sheer horror of like taking someone's homeland for your own, and like I don't know, I find all that so interesting, because it's so horrible, but it's like, I don't know, like really just, it's good to, I don't know, but it's good to be aware of like your own. I mean, like, you know, that whole movie's like the British invading and murdering and slaughtering and killing everybody and taking the land for their own and stuff, and that's why we're so close with Australia now and stuff. And
close.
Well, they're part of the Commonwealth, aren't they?
Yeah. It's a weird thing when when you start to examine that kind of history, because you'd want, I feel, and with, we would talk about Ireland before, and it's like with the famine, and it's like,
famine that wasn't
Yeah, and when you think of and obviously with like, but with America as well, and the slave trade, it's like, Britain colonized America, right? Like there were colonies of, it was Britain and France, and but we were still there.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing to be like.
And Liverpool was huge for like the slave trade as well, weren't they? Like, because we had the big docks and everything.
We've never really atoned, have we?
That's
no one,
thing,
the world's
like,
never actually stood us up and been like, you know, all that stuff you did a couple of 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It was some of the worst stuff that's ever gone down. Like when you think of like even like things like with the Holocaust and stuff, like that was a intensely bad thing, but it was over the course of like, I mean, even before, you know, what, let's say 10 years or something like that, like, or a bit longer. But then Britain's empire and some of the stuff with the colonization and stuff, and
like decades.
that was happening for a long time, and
and
we're still revered as this, like, you know,
and we've still got all stolen art and artifacts and stuff in like the British Museum of stuff that we've robbed from like all over the world, being like, oh, look at this, what we found, and it's like,
it is a bit weird,
crazy,
isn't it?
All that sort of stuff, and
a lot, because like I'm only thinking about this now because we're talking about it, but I don't think a lot of the average day, you know, like working class Brit would be considering those kind of things. I mean, maybe not even the higher class, like people. What I mean by that is the people that are like more educated to that. Like if I think of like someone that I grew up with, we probably wouldn't be thinking about.
No, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with any when I was growing up, but I wasn't told that growing up. Like you weren't taught that in schools.
Us included.
Yeah, and maybe you weren't taught it in like working class schools. That was purely because they're so like underfunded and like
you probably wouldn't get it with private.
That's me. I don't think you get it in private schools because they don't want you thinking that you're the bad guy. They want you to feel like important and special and things like that. So why would they spend an hour telling you about all the shit you've done in the past, like as a nation and that? Do you know what I mean? It's like
it's interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting.
But you know, I think that there's a lot of parts of a lot of societies that are probably broken, including ours. That it's like, you know, where people being self-aware about our horrible, you know, the atrocities that we've committed over the past 500, 600 years.
Yeah.
You know, that's so not in their mind, and like even other things like basic things aren't potentially in. I don't know. I was like, we were on being on the train today and like watching people on other trains and other trams and stuff, and it's like, you know, it's like
we're all just trying to get through the day, aren't we? Like we're all just trying to get by, and
it's the thing of like just of you know, like I don't know, like you know, like you get on it, you wake up, it's middle of July, and there's, you know, like the weather has been notorious. I feel like this is one of the worst summers we've had.
It's definitely one of the worst.
It's been pretty bad.
It's been awful.
And you know, I get that it's like we're all in the same boat here. It's like, you know, and it's not like bombs are going off, so there's that. But then, you know, it's like I'm looking at a lot of people on trams and stuff and rushing about, and it's like we are all just like in that rat race thing of like go to point A to point B you know, it's like you stop to look up and it's like it's great, get on with it.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Do you remember that whole thing where, you know, it was that whole thing with Britain? It was like keep calm and carry on.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting bit of propaganda. I think.
No, yeah.
Like the idea of it being like, you pull your socks up, you just get on with it, you know, keep calm and just keep doing that thing. It'd be super interesting if they would have put out a slogan that was like, I don't know, keep calm but question what's going on.
Yeah,
or like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Keep calm but are you happy?
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about job centres. We went past a job centre which looked like it was. Every job centre looks like it is run down deliberately.
The building looks really like neglected and things like that, and oppressive inside, and it's like it's not a space that you want to go to in order to seek help about trying to secure a job. It's a place you want to avoid.
You want to avoid it. Like, it's not like we walked past another space. Was it called Spaces?
Something like that,
and it looked like this super hip, cool, trendy young startup company. We were like, you know, playing this idea of like, oh, you know, like what's going on in there? Like that looks young.
Whatever's going on in there, I want to know.
Yeah. And then next door, down the street, there was a job centre which looked like it was literally back in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I feel like that in itself is like something's broken in our society there. Why wouldn't you want
Yeah.
it to kind of be like a job centre to be, let's make it look like that, and
Yeah.
let's incentivize and
Yeah.
have people being like, I want to work at the job centre. That looks like the best job ever. Like,
I know what you mean.
it just makes me. I know that I feel like we potentially get onto this kind of stuff a lot on the podcast, but I think it's useful talking about, because even someone like,
this is just conversations we have all the time. Though, even like, are you okay? Like,
I just twatted my arm on the back of this thing.
You keep whacking your arm about. Are you all right?
No, that really hurt.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Try and relax your limbs.
Totally cool, baby.
You know, was it last night we were watching? We stayed at a hotel last night because it was Mike's birthday over the weekend, and we were watching like telly in the hotel room and stuff, which is quite rare for us because we're way too cool to watch telly on most days. But
we do watch telly every day.
No, I mean, this was telly, like it was Sky telly. We'll stream a movie or a show or something.
Yeah, it's not like scrolling telly.
No, we don't do that. And
not that that's like
no, it's only messing. People do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But and yeah, we notice like all the adverts and stuff, because that's mean we don't really see many adverts and stuff these days, and they're all and like I don't want to go on this too much because I feel like you and me have our own like rants about this either every day or when we hear it on the radio or when we see an advertisement for it. So I'll keep it short, but the whole like online gambling thing of like, you know, there's all sorts of them, there's loads of them about, and they've always got a famous face narrating the advert or the television advert.
It's weird though, isn't it? It's like it was ITV4, right? Because we were watching Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Great movie. Can't speak more highly of it.
Yeah.
But then it was like we saw it was a something casino, and Keith Lemon was the face of it.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, there's that, and then the next one was like Chris Rock
narrating one
for like maybe, I don't know, it wasn't exclusively an American brand, was it?
No, I don't know what it was. It was just another online betting thing where it's just like, it's like one of the things that just really makes me think like, what on earth is going on there? Because
it's like you'd have to is like the average person that is sat there watching TV, like our parents or people of that generation. You know, it's like, yeah, you probably wouldn't think anything of it. You would. That's not seeing that's not going to make you go and gamble.
No. It's not about that though.
But it's this idea of like, those kind of people are getting paid a really hefty sum of money compared to the average working class person.
Yeah.
And it's promoting that they're pushing it to these people of society.
Yeah.
That they know are
vulnerable to it. Yeah.
And I don't know, when you partner that with the whole like, it does sometimes feel like you're living in a novel. Yeah. Where it's like you get
dystopian.
Dystopian. It's like you wake up, it's like, this is our summer, this is peak.
Yeah.
Like what's happening outside right now is our best.
Yeah.
And it's thrashing it down, and it's not come from we have 6 months of rain season, and you get on, and you have another 6 of
the
pure
weather though.
like,
no one can really do much about that. Imagine if the government controlled the weather. Imagine if there was something the government are doing in there, like, this is like proper mad conspiracy now, and I don't believe this to be true, but imagine
let's make this about what
conspiracy's right. Imagine that the government are working with some kind of environmental company that, kind of like, on Truman Show, when he can control the weather, it's like under a dome. What if there's some kind of invisible dome separating us from the actual sky, and they'll use the weather as something to like influence and to some extent control the the day-to-day and the general mindset of like the public, in the same way that when they'd be like, when people say something big happens, it's because the government have planned it, because they're doing something really bad that they don't want anyone to have any eyes on and stuff. They want people to forget about it. And it's like things like that. It's like that are used as scapegoats and smoke screens and stuff. But that's a crazy thing to imagine, that they make the summer like especially bad. So everyone's in an awful mood. So everyone's like feeling like things look gloomier, things look not, you know.
It's like an oppressive thing.
It is, yeah.
And it's like, I feel like the more that you like, with stuff like the weather, it's like you can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Just keep
calm,
trudging,
on,
keep trudging through your day to day.
Don't think about how you could make any good changes or anything like that.
It sort of reinforces a mindset of like, my job is shit.
Yeah.
Well, just keep going because it's all shit. And it's like, you know,
be stiff upper lip British thing of it's what you do. You just carry on and you just, you know, you pull your boots up and the whole like you know, like we're British, like we'll get through this, and like
I don't remember it being like this when we were kids. I remember summers being like real out on your bike
every
summers,
day, yeah.
And your winters you'd get a bit of
snow. Yeah.
Whereas like I don't know, it's I you know, it's like, but I think it says a lot where it's like you feel as if the government or the people, you know, who you are governed by or whatever it is, it's so untrustworthy and so like there's so many holes in it that are, you know, with in the UK it's like with government, but then it's also with like the monarchy and stuff, which is like another level which a lot of other places don't have. It's so shady that then it's like, well, it would make you question everything. It would make you think there's a dome over the UK and like they're pushing some button that's like rain all the time, but like, because it's like, well, who would have thought that a fucking member of the royal family could have been an actual like, you know, like fucking
like pedo.
Yeah, and it's like, or as was it? Can you say pedo, or is it more of a sex assault?
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, well, it's kind of pedophile because I know she was under 18.
Right. Okay.
So it's like, you know, the sexual assault of a minor.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was like, you know, I don't think he had like kiddie porn and stuff on his PC.
But still, it's still like, it's just dodgy. It's just dodgy as
He's
shit.
not a good guy,
no.
basically.
And then it's like, well, yeah, you would put all that other stuff under the microscope, wouldn't you?
No, yeah, that's true. Have you got a favourite conspiracy theory?
The JFK one, I think, is great.
Yeah.
Not great. I just mean.
Oh,
like,
I love that.
Oh,
one.
I've got a poster in my bedroom. But I do think that because I think a lot of conspiracy theories are pretty. You can disregard them.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
But you think the JFK one, is that even really a conspiracy theory anymore, or is it just recognised as the biggest, most successful cover-up in the world in the sense that no one's gone to jail for his murder?
I still think... Well, someone did go to jail.
Oh, sorry, the wrong person.
I think it's like... I think people's... Like, I don't know, you'd have to ask people, but like...
You'd have to ask Harvey, what was his name?
Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah. It's like, because I remember having a conversation with Luke McMahon about it, our old history teacher.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, well, it's obviously a conspiracy theory, and he like really challenged me on it.
Really?
He really was like, and he does that a lot where he plays devil's advocate, and he loves twisting the old little, you know.
Yeah. Which is important to do as a history teacher. You've got to like analyse why something's been reported a certain way, and
it's a bit annoying though, isn't it? Because then you start saying stuff like where it's like.
But that's an important part of debate and talking about the way that we talk about something in history, depending on who you are and stuff.
Yeah, I think he just likes.
Yeah.
I think he loves debate.
What was his thing of saying? Well, hang on, no.
Because
is there like much argument for the idea that it was Lee Harvey Oswald? I
don't think there's any like, you know, they say that it's like Lee Harvey Oswald who did it, and they say that they shot him in the he was behind the car's driving. Lee Harvey Oswald's in the Texas School Book Depository, which is behind JFK.
Right.
And he was using a Kakano rifle, which was like that he got because he was a soldier in Nam or whatever it was, and then he was able to fire like 3 shots from behind while the car's moving from this rifle, which was like a pretty not well kept rifle when they found it.
Yeah.
He was able to fire 3 shots in a ridiculously quick amount of time. It's like bang, 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 and it's like he's got to reload the chamber each time,
which is just not realistic. Yeah.
And he lands like 2 headshots, and he gets another shot in on the senator who was driving. I don't think he meant to shoot the senator, but then if you watch the footage, like JFK's head, the exit wounds in the back. So it's like the you see his head go like that.
So he was shot from the front.
So he shot from the front, the exit wounds from the back, and you can see that on the footage.
But then the CIA claimed that it was shot from behind.
I think it was like the FBI or whatever it was,
right.
and a bullet like there was this thing called the magic bullet theory, which they say like it's mental.
Yeah.
They say that a bullet went like into the senator,
right,
like in like his this is I'm not, you'd have to get, this is not right what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It went in through like one part of his body, came out his wrist, ricocheted and hit JFK,
and then went round the back of JFK's head and then through his head.
It's not quite that crazy,
right.
but it's crazy. And then there was also like they didn't find one of the bullets or something, like there should have been a bullet somewhere.
And why do you think that bullet was gone?
I think it was like someone picked it up and took it, like hid it.
Because it would have been revealing that it wasn't from that gun.
Yeah, something like that.
But they found some of the bullets.
They found, I think like
2 of them or something.
Yeah, and Lee Harvey Oswald had an alibi that he was like across town watching in a movie theater at the time. So there's that.
Can he prove that?
I think that was proved. I think that was like,
that's crazy, isn't it?
And then on top of that, so then he gets arrested. He's in custody.
Yeah.
During the period of him being in handcuffs, and there's cameras, and and you can watch this on film. It's mental.
Yeah.
He's got cameras around him. He's got like deputy sheriffs. He's in cuffs.
Yeah, it would be of anybody in the world that could commit a crime, this person is going to be of extreme importance to look after.
Yeah.
And keep eyes on.
He's walking from point A to point B, and there's newscasters in his face and stuff. And then this guy, Jack Ruby, jumps out and shoots him and kills him.
And that's on camera.
You can see that on, it's on.
Oh my God.
Then Jack Ruby gets sent to prison, and he dies in prison. Like relatively, I don't think it was like the day of.
So he was put to do that?
Yeah.
Do you think?
I mean, come on, it's like.
And then he was. They told him, but what would be in it for him, Jack Ruby? What would be in it for him to go and kill this guy? Well,
again, maybe it's a thing.
On camera.
Well, you know, I don't know what the answer to there would be. I think Jack Ruby had ties with the mob, but I don't know.
Right.
But the idea of it being like, why would this guy go and kill Lee Harvey Oswald? What's in it for him? And then why does Lee Harvey Oswald? Then why does Jack Ruby die in his cell?
Yeah.
Also,
it's always huge red flags when people die in police custody. Like
always. Oh.
What's his name?
Epstein.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I think you're crazy to believe that he really did kill himself in there. Just to wrap up. I love it.
JFK had a brother, Bobby Kennedy, also in politics.
Yes, he was.
A few years later, or it might even been the year after or something like that.
Wasn't he murdered?
He's assassinated.
Yeah.
Now, what's the case? What's the story there? He's giving like a speech. He's doing some rally, and he's supposed to exit through like the kitchen, or whatever, because they had exit through the whatever it is, like
somewhere like away from public eye.
And a guy
was able to get to him.
Gets to him and puts like a couple of rounds in him.
Wow.
The guy to this day, under police questioning, says he has no recollection of it at all.
Wow.
So then you're getting onto like MK Ultra, the whole. Are you onto that?
I know it a little bit, but I don't know what it's about really. Is that like brainwashing or something?
Everyone thought that was a conspiracy, and then MK Ultra, it was like the CIA, the papers were released, and it was like it was the CIA brainwashing people after the war to using like vast amounts of hallucinogenics and like repetitive, like putting headphones on people. Is
that the thing with the eyes that they're doing Clockwork Orange, or is that just meant to be like hinting at it?
I think that's like a sort of interpretation of what that would look like, but drugging people on LSD and then trying to convince them to do something,
change their memories or stuff.
I think it's like give them orders,
influence how they're going to do stuff,
and then they so.
Damn.
And that's public record now.
Wow.
People say like Manson was a.
So why did they want people from the war to do stuff for them?
Well, no, I think it was like I don't think it was it was not exclusively like ex-soldiers or anything.
Did they want to change their influence their recollections of stuff because actually some of the stuff that went down was really bad?
No, I don't. I sorry. I think what I meant by that is like it was a thing that happened after the war. I don't think it was an exclusive like let's get veterans and use on them.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was like it's like 1945, 46.
And it was just what they were working on at the time.
And they start doing this kind of stuff. But the fact that this guy,
what's his name? Do you know?
I think his name is Saran. Yeah. I know, that's maybe Duran, maybe that's where they got
I'm getting
from,
like Saran rap, but also Duran.
Duran's tribute band, I'm Saran. That's a really niche, funny kind of joke.
So he has, but it's proven that it was him.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. There was witnesses and
stuff.
Yeah.
But
he like stood there. I think there's some sort of eyewitness where it was like he was found just stood there with the gun.
Wow.
Bobby's dead in front of him, and then he's like he has no.
And how was he able to get to him? It's like.
How's he able to get to him? But how do you do that thing where it's like I've got
no
witnesses?
memory of doing that. Did he go to jail?
Yeah, I think he's still in jail, or he died in jail.
But like a long time after.
Imagine you're given the opportunity to be like, why did you do this? What's going on?
Yourself.
You would say something like, I was paid, or like this goes deeper. But
the fact that you didn't know,
to keep your mouth shut for that amount of time and be in prison.
Yeah.
MK Ultra though, that's
crazy. Yeah.
And that was the thing. So it's like it's total. I think people could say like, oh, it's just bollocks, but I think if you watch the video and the basic understanding you have is that Lee Harvey Oswald shot this president in the back. That's what they were saying. That's the whole. If you just go, it just physically the way how that looks.
Grassy knoll.
Well, that's where they say the actual shooter was.
Or the CIA.
Whether or not it was the FBI or not, it
was someone like highly skilled and equipped though.
To land that kind of shot, I think it was
on a moving target. It was Mike Ehrmantraut.
If it was going to be anyone,
yeah,
who was a Vietnam sniper, but
yeah.
But it's really, there's some really good documentaries. They actually there's something called the Warren Commission.
I've heard of this.
Which is like an actual commission that was launched to investigate the conspiracy theory of it. And it's so fascinating.
Find anything, or was there some dodgy stuff there as well?
Just everything that I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Plus more. There's like people.
Yeah.
I remember my dad saying that.
Your dad's big into it, isn't he?
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because my dad really couldn't give two shits about any conspiracy theories. I don't think so anyway. He's never expressed an interest. He loves things about plane crashes. He'd be watching like air crash investigation like all night, like, and then he'd know everything about it, and he'd be like, this is why that happened and that happened and this and stuff, and I'm like, Dad, we're going on holiday next week. Why are you doing this?
He had that UFO that we watched last night, or what is it?
The UFO.
UFO.
That's what they were saying in the show. They were like, was it a UFO? But yeah, a UFO.
He used to watch that all the time.
My dad?
I texted him last night and I was like, have you ever seen this? And he was like, oh yeah, I used to watch it all the time. It's great.
That's cool.
Which is cool.
It did seem like one of your key shows,
didn't
to be
it?
fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was awesome. Do you have a favourite conspiracy theory? Are you into... have you ever done any serious reading on any of the...
Conspiracy theories... I really enjoy the one about that all of leaders and public figures are lizards. You know that guy, what's his name? That's something I'm not like super knowledgeable on it, but that really does make me laugh. Anything to do with the idea of the Queen or like Taylor Swift or anything like that being a lizard from a different planet is so funny to me. And like there's all like videos on YouTube and stuff of people finding clips of someone like a celebrity and they're a bit cold, or you see something weird and then it's like, oh, why that woman there, like she was there and then she knew, and then they like glitch where it's like something went wrong in their like mechanism, and then they're like, oh, that's why she's all like that, because it's like the blood is not meant to be in this climate. I love things like that. Flat earthers are quite funny as well.
Yeah, they're genuine. That's very funny.
Love things about that. So I quite like the funny ones.
One time I was in Liverpool, I was walking on the street and someone started to debate me on it, and I didn't know what I was talking to them about until they said like, excuse me, have you got a minute to talk about I think they framed it as like it was an environment thing.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I've got a minute, and then they were like,
big mistake.
Literally it was this one, and then she was like, and then she started pulling these things out about flat earth and the moon being not real.
The moon landing being fake, that's a really good one as well. I really enjoy that, and I love the link of that and Stanley Kubrick as well, the idea that he directed it.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of like Stanley Kubrick being dying very quickly after Eyes Wide Shut, about this thing about him knowing about this big paedophile ring. That's all a bit dark though, like Pizzagate and stuff like that. That's kind of dark conspiracies, but
it's a problem though, isn't it, when you get some like this lizard conspiracy?
Yeah.
I feel like what happens is you get actual grounded. That was pretty good.
Thanks.
You get these actual grounded conspiracy theorists like the JFK thing,
and then like Princess Diana and things like that. I think.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
I've not done too much reading into that, so I don't.
So the basic concept is that she was driving in Paris. She was in a car in Paris that was speeding through this tunnel to escape paparazzi, and the car flips over and she dies.
Right.
But there's things that like don't quite add up about it, and some people say that it was like a forced crash. There were things done to her brakes, and this was all like pre-planned and stuff. Stuff like that, just because of the position that she was putting the royal family in at the time and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that one.
Do you think maybe there's an interesting thing where it's like the idea of somebody being like, say you've got a spectrum, and on one end of the spectrum you've got someone who thinks everything is a conspiracy theory, so it's like, or that there is like the idea of it's like question everything, the Illuminati is real, your day-to-day is being dictated in ways that like, you know, you're being shown what to watch, you're being told what to do. There's that, and then there's the other end of the spectrum where it's like, you are stupid if you think that conspiracy theories exist. You're so
willfully blind and ignorant and mindless and stuff like that,
which is kind of ironic if that would be the case, because then it'd be like, oh, you're having a go at me for being apparently like naive, when if there was something
I get you. I think there's like, I definitely believe in to a certain extent that we are constantly under the influence of like higher corruption. I don't necessarily mean like Illuminatis and like they're like controlling our mind, or there's like powerful like beings that are like at play, like the Illuminati, that you know, it's meant to be these people that are controlling everything.
There's a room and a club and a secret place.
I don't believe that, to be honest. I don't believe there's anything supernatural about it, but in terms of like capitalism, the government, cover-ups, marketing, you know, what's the word, subliminal messaging, mainly about like consumerism and like capitalism. I think things like that are always at play, and you know, and that sort of thing. But it's like, and like you're always like being sold to and things like that. But I don't necessarily think that it's a good idea to go into everything being like, oh, like question everything, like, oh, like, you know, there's this and there's this, because then, you know, it's a bit like, it's tough. It's really tough, because obviously I think there's some things that if someone was talking about, someone might think that you're crazy for believing the whole JFK thing.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then you might talk about it and you'll go like, oh, if you look at this, you look at this. But you would put it across in a very like, well, these things are kind of undisputed and these things really don't add up, and this all is too, it's like there's too much of it that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, like flat earthers, if they'll cling on to these things that, like you know, that, what's that bias thing called, where it's like, if you want to believe something, you'll only find and seek out information that will reaffirm that, you know, and stuff like that. Like, even things about like manifestation or like stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you need to like, I believe it to some extent, because obviously you've got to believe good things will happen to you and then you'll find them. It's
like, you know, it's like, if you, but all you have to do is go on to Instagram and it's some bullshit montage of some, usually some middle-aged white man saying
or it's a white woman saying like manifest your life.
You gotta believe. You gotta close your eyes and you gotta believe you're gonna make that sale or whatever. You know, or like it's like sure if you close your eyes and you're like I'm gonna walk around today. I'm gonna have a smile on my face and I'm gonna be nice to everybody. Yeah, you're gonna get nice stuff back because you're being nice. Like, but the idea of being like I'm gonna strongly visualize $1 million. Yeah. Or like I know Jim Carrey said this before. It's like
I've seen that clip. Yeah.
I think Jim Carrey's great, and I think a lot of what he says is lovely. And I get
Jim Carrey.
But it's a tricky one whenever you say something like Jim Carrey's like or anyone says I knew something was going to happen because I visualized it, and then it does happen, and then this horrible thing happens where it's almost like
you're not visualizing it hard enough.
Yeah, and then also like, well, because I visualized it and it did happen and it was this like surreal thing. Yeah. That's now a universal truth.
Yeah, and it's not like so much of it can be luck and coincidence.
And there's like nuances. Everyone's there's probably 1 million stories that you don't hear of people who sit there and like they really work their asses off and they work and they've had really terrible things happen to them.
If you visualize something but then don't work towards it and it happens, that's very rare. But then you could work really hard towards something that you like kind of visualize and get closer to that, and then it happens. It happened because you did all that hard work, not because you visualized it. But the visualizing helps. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I feel with manifestation. Like if I like manifest things for myself, like I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get this, and then sit back and just watch The Office. Yeah. Like nothing's gonna happen. But it's definitely nuanced. But if I see this and I'm like, okay, if I see myself doing this, like, what sort of things would that person do to get those things? Or what are other people doing to get to that level? Or what are other people doing? And what can I do? What can we do? What can you do? What can you do? What to get us to the next level?
That's great.
You know, and you go out and you do those things. And then it's that whole thing like law of attraction. Are you onto all that as well? Law of attraction.
Yeah, and I do get that because it's if you surround yourself with good people and people that are also pushing themselves,
and you're attracting things that you like, you want and that are good. It's like, but then like I don't really believe in like karma and things like that.
I'm not sure that's a law of attraction. I'm sure that's like it's almost like a cause and effect. It's like go and hang out with a bunch of smackheads and you'll probably
be doing smack in a couple of months.
Something. It applies to anything. It's like you go anything, but then it's like you'll also attract probably a load of dickheads and in any area. So it's like you want to become rich and wealthy, go and hang out with fucking stockbrokers or whatever it is. And it's like, well, you might attract wealth, but then you might also attract a load of shit that comes with it.
Toxicity and materialism and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not always... but that's just like, it's that thing of like, well, you place yourself in any dynamic, you're going to be around people that share those values. So that's... But then it becomes this mystifying... The law of attraction. Yeah. It's like, that sounds really good, but it's not really. It doesn't
need to be mystical,
You're kind of just using that as something to sell. Then you're selling an ideology.
Oh my god, it's literally,
and it always comes back to what you can sell.
How can we sell you something? Like, how can we sell you this crystal manifestation spells, or buy this book, or do this
I find course. It really it's courses now. You go onto Instagram and everything, and you see these people. It's so funny though. Yeah, it's so funny. I've seen this one guy. I don't know what is.
It's okay. I should stretch my legs out.
And it's it's like, I look at me because I'm really successful and I'm hiring people that are earning X amount of money under my program just from following me. Yeah. Even it was Andrew Tate, wasn't it? The Tate brothers. It was like one of their big incomes was like a school. It was like a business school. Yeah. And I remember checking it out and being like, what's this all about? And it's so funny because they're attracting vulnerable people that want to be wealthy, because they've made, and again it's that thing, they might have been able to do it. They've had a very nuanced set of things that have happened, so now they're wealthy, and because they're in that position, they can basically control anything. They can say anything they want, them, and people will follow and believe it.
That's so true with like any kind of influencers as well, though. You sort of gain their trust. And I find that interesting about the Andrew Tate thing, because I was like, it's like they're kind of trying to represent this idea of being alpha male. Right. But then everyone that will be doing their course will be like people that want to be alpha male, so then that makes them beta males.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Yeah.
Because it's almost like if you were alpha male, you wouldn't do this course. You'd like create your own course. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, but no, don't do that.
And also, you do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it?
Which is so, because like, think of like this. All right, so like they're trying to sell this thing.
Yeah.
That they're these.
Who isn't? Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Like, they're alpha males, and what does that look like? Well, they live in private. They've got bodyguards.
Yeah.
Basically anything they want, they have.
Mansions, big cars, like.
But they're men need to be men. We're strong men. Like we take care of our women, but we all blah blah blah. But I'm throwing a fight, first punching a fight to defend someone. It's like, all right, yeah, great. But then picture this. There's a guy in rural Canada. He made a startup business. Does it successfully. Provides for his wife and kids. Has a great relationship with them. Gets home. First thing he says is, "How's your day?" Picks up his kids, kisses them. Yeah. Drives a pickup truck. You know. Doesn't have that wealth. He's got some money. He's got his own house. He owns the house. He owns the property that he, great relationship with that. Doesn't feel the need to be trying to ram something down someone's throat selling it. Who's the real alpha there? Like,
so true.
It's like that the silent heroes that you see all the time. The women who are working in NHS nurses, or men who are like, I don't know, just who I've just described. To me, it's like, and like alpha women as well, and like alpha. That to me is the real image,
it's
and the one that they're.
Yeah.
I seriously don't know what man thinks that, like, if someone said to me now, "Here's a Bugatti," I would vomit.
What's that?
It's a car.
Oh, like a fancy
You've seen those
car.
cars, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like that.
Like, yeah.
They just look stupid. They look like it's like when you're 8, it's like a race car bed. That's what you would want.
Yeah, like Ferraris and stuff, but,
like.
Yeah.
I seriously, and I'm not, because I've not got a Bugatti.
They do push that, don't they? It's about the image and material thing of wealth, instead of like being what's inside that counts, sort of thing. Yeah, and anything like that.
They try and mesh the two. They try and make it sound like if you're this strong, like, oh, I'm alpha, like, I'm like, then that then is echoed by the material wealth that I have.
I see. Right.
Which I think is silly, because it's like...
it's crazy. It's crazy, this idea of people that... It's like... I saw this thing recently that was talking about how real wealth isn't on show. Like, do you know what I mean? And usually when wealth is being on show, it's because something is seriously lacking. Yeah. I'm not saying that's like if you've got a really fancy, expensive car, then you're lacking in something in your life. But it's like that presentation of wealth is kind of like oxymoronic, because I don't know. It's like you trying to show that you have this wealth that comes from a place of like insecurity and like desire of status and respect and feeling better than someone, which is ultimately like against humanity and being what's the word, very what does Louis Theroux say on that thing? He's like, I think I've got good humility, like when someone says, I think I've got great humility, and it's like,
it's a funny thing to say.
It's a funny thing, like, and then there's the whole thing of like people being like humble. It's like, oh yeah, you might have this like massive house and big car, but they're so humble. And they get praised for being like being a normal person, when obviously they're not. But anything they do that's kind of like, oh, like they just went to like go and get a bottle of water from the shop, like they're so humble. And it's like, they're just doing what millions of people are doing every day. Yeah. But you're calling them humble because they're not like always displaying their wealth and stuff. And it's like, I don't like that either. I don't like when people are praised for doing basic things and being called humble.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then again, I feel like the fact that we live in a world where celebrities are put on this pedestal, huge pedestal, and they're given huge well, just screen time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's, and like you've said, it's like, yeah, like you would see someone like that, or you'd be, or you'd, yeah, and it's like, oh, you walk down the street, blah 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 blah, or it's like, oh, well, this person donated a certain amount to a certain, or they do all this sort of like thingy work, and it's like, yeah, obviously that goes without saying that's amazing,
good, yeah.
Obviously, but it changes when it's in the eyes of the media, and it changes when it's like, well, because you could be a celebrity that doesn't do any donating, right? And you could be like, well, I live my own life and I'll donate. I don't do any philanthropy or any work like that. And you will get people like that. But then also it's like, well, look, if you are making millions and you've got millions of pounds, like, the wealth that the average person, the majority of the people will never see.
Yeah, even like doctors and
you could donate
stuff like that.
You could donate half of your wealth.
Yeah.
And you'll still be richer than the majority of us.
Yeah.
You could probably donate 90% of it and you'll probably still be richer than all of us.
So true, yeah.
So I'd love it.
It's like there's only so much praise that's possible there,
because it's like, yeah, like
I feel like that a lot.
For someone, if someone said you've now got 100 grand a year, we'd be like, are you kidding? We're millionaires. Think of what we're going to do with that. Think of the life that we can have for ourselves.
Yeah.
That is pennies. That's peanuts.
Yeah,
literally. To the celebrities that are A-list celebrities.
Yeah, so true.
And then, but then it's supposed to be like, it's like get a sense of perspective. It's like, oh, well, no one has to, that they've earned that, or like the hours they do, and it's bollocks, because it's like, go and watch a NHS nurse or or someone who's like, I don't know, the equivalent, or a bin man, or do you know what I mean, or people that take care of kids, or I don't know, social workers, people
that are doing jobs that like don't get thanked for and things like that.
No. But we should just start paying like it'll never happen, but it's like,
no, it won't.
It's like, for example, if they said, nothing would make my heart sore if I read tomorrow that they were axing the Golden Globes and all these BAFTAs and all these stupid displays, and instead they were like, you know what we're doing instead? All the fucking pap and all the stuff that we would do that. We figured out how much that usually costs turnover. To feed everyone. Like, they have a meal and they get whatever money, we're going to take all that, and each year we're going to have something else called the Globe Support Award or whatever, and we're going to it's a day where we donate. That's a day where people they call up, they donate, we do all these other things that are not to do with celebrities, where they come and sit on stage and they start weeping and going, oh, this is for fucking you. It's like,
I know what you mean. It's a bit cringy, isn't it?
And all you've done is spend 2 months out in California shooting a lovely, with fucking people run up to you, this smoothie, or like, that was so good, do you want to do a little? And it's like, and fucking people coming out saying like, people don't know what we go through as, to get into that place as actors.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, no.
But people play into it. People say, oh, did you watch the Golden Globes? Oh, you're watching the BAFTAs? Are you watching this? Yeah. It's like, no, actually, and it's like, oh, well, that's, why?
I don't think those things should stop, because I think that anything like to do with the creation of art and things like that needs to be like supported. But it's the
a little like,
it's the extreme,
it's the extravagance
of it, and all that I hate of it.
Have it in a or if they said, okay, well, you can have it.
The Olympics, like, I love the Olympics. This idea of people that have like trained and pushed themselves to compete in a sport and represent themselves, like their country, and all that sort of stuff is very cool. But it's like, and obviously so much money, so many millions go into the Olympics every year, and it's like, but I guess I wouldn't look at that and think that it's extravagant. Maybe because like there's a bit more of like a thing of, I don't know, because I know actors train, and obviously I love movies and I love TV shows, so I can totally respect and appreciate
I know
the skill of all of that, and the work that goes into it, of all the team, of everything behind movies and stuff. But I don't like any big, like, over the top displays of like accolade and. But that is
kind of what it is.
Oh yeah, I know.
And with the Olympics, it's like you have these. It's like people that, like, the physical, like, and I did drama plays, and I was on stage for. And it's like, but with the Olympics, you're talking about people that have, the physical toll and the skill that is honed in on that.
But
also,
that's acting as well.
Okay,
though.
but there's politics to do with film, isn't there? People say it's like, well, they knew.
Some people say there's politics and Olympics and everything.
I don't think you can bullshit someone running faster than someone else.
That's true. Okay. Yeah,
or you can't,
true.
right? Or it's like, the judge fucked me. It's like, okay, fair enough, but like, like you still, it was really close.
Yeah.
But the idea of like, you hear people talking about, well, they were due that, or they did a bunch of stuff and they knew it was on the cards.
I hate that,
and it's like, don't know about that.
No, I know what you mean.
And then is it a coincidence then that you get someone has a breakout role and then you see him in films fucking everywhere? Do you know what I mean? Like that's
because they're a hot topic,
right?
Aren't they? Like they'll get people into the movie theaters to see them.
But there's, again, that's a money thing. There's money in that.
It is money.
Whereas with the Olympics, everyone, I feel like the Olympics is.
It is different.
And people aren't as turned on as what they would be.
Yeah. And people don't. You don't like see Olympians like on the covers of like Us Weekly or TV things about what they're doing in the public eye and things like that, because no one seems to be that bothered. It's only actors and singers 100%. And stuff that are in the public eye in that way,
because they generate more money.
Because they do have more money.
People would see an Olympics body and they wouldn't. I don't think people would be like, how much fucking work have they had to put in to get to that point?
Yeah.
Not just to look that way, but to have such control and skill in a nuanced area of something. Whereas with an actor, it's like you get some actors or some singers, and it's like it's just poof, like Harry Styles, poof. I'm on the X Factor.
Yeah.
Oh, not the. I'm on Britain's Got Talent. Oh, he's a bit of a heartthrob. But you get someone like Simon Cowell, fucking chirps in. Oh, I know how to manage. I know how to market that.
Yeah.
I'll market it. Brilliant.
And then now there he is. He's like one of the biggest stars in the whole world.
And it's like fine. He might be able to write a song and put a song together and play guitar. So can fucking 6 billion other people.
So true.
And like they don't get anywhere near that recognition, but he's been marketed in a certain way. He's been tailored in a certain way.
Yeah.
Just because of the money.
Money.
Viewers, it all sounds very grim, doesn't it? But there's a real reason why we're saying this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Again,
and Meg will tell you what that reason is.
This is maybe again when we sit down to do these poddies, we don't really have a specific thing in mind. We just try and let the talk be real and be like
real.
Stuff like that. But it's like it's good, interesting topics that I think are interesting to talk about and listen to, because I think that a lot of people will feel the same as us, and it feels nice to feel that voice like mirrored and actually said aloud. I think so, yeah. Because I do think that people go like, yeah, it's awful, like it's so bad, but it feels a bit like, oh well, it seems like everyone is like loves it though, and it's like it's nice to put that out, but then to also be like, but it's like it's kind of like making your peace with that sort of side of the world, but then it's like, okay, but in your little small circle, in your corner of things, it's like, trying not to let that like dictate how you are and have this any sense of like, oh, the world's so unfair, so I'm gonna be unfair. And it's like, but that's the true like sadness of it all, is this idea of it.
But we're genuinely not like that. It's not. It's like using like, you justify your own being a dickhead because it's like, well, the world is against you.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, okay, yeah, the world is a dick, can be. No, the world's great, whatever, blah. But there's real elements of it which are out of your control.
So much of it.
And then it's like you're aware of it, and like, yeah, it's real. Like these 99% are things
99% of it in a way is out of your control.
Yeah.
But it's like, what are you doing with your slice of like something that's positive and that's like bringing you joy, bringing someone else joy, making someone else happy, doing something for someone else,
pursuing something that you genuinely feel is like true to you, and being being able to sort of say like, hang on a minute, like in little things where it's like, if you get if it's like, this isn't right in any caliber, it's like, it could be the way someone speaks to you or the way how a situation is handled. And you like, it's like, it's not me. I'm not just because I'm saying that it's not fair, that doesn't mean that I'm the bad person.
No,
like,
not at all.
No. And having that conviction to do so.
Yeah. I'm trying to do this thing now where I say like every single day, I'm trying to do something for someone else. Like,
that's great.
And then I think to myself, like, once I've done that, and it's like, you have to sort of have that lens of like looking for the opportunity to do that for someone.
Which is nice.
It could obviously look different every day, and some days it might be more of a grand gesture, or some days it might just be like calling someone, or some days it could be, you know, just looking out for someone, or looking out, you know, seeing something and going like, oh, like, I don't know, what could I do there? And I'm trying to think of it as like that's not that like once you've done it once, that's it, but like if every day you can like tick that off mentally, I've done something there, that's my like check box of like I've done something for someone else today, with no sense of like what do I get in return, because it's a tiny little rebellion every day of like pushing against that idea that everything is like rigged against you, or that it's unfair, and that people are out to get you, and that people don't care and stuff like that.
No, but then I suppose
I'm really trying to adopt that recently.
But that's great, and then you can also use that further, can't you? And be like, well, you know, not that it's like the world is against you and things are set up for you to fail, but it's like there are very real boundaries that are set up, and you have to know what they are. But then you have to learn what they are so you can maneuver around them.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, or you can be like, well, I can just sort of not maneuver around them, and I know where I can. You know, it's like for someone that earns, you know, it's like I want to get out and go and better myself. And it's like, well, you're probably going to need money to do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, how do you get money? And
but
it's like, well,
even saying that though, you say, oh, you're probably going to need money to do that. It's like, okay, well, nothing overnight is going to change to make me have this much money, which is why I hate all of the gambling stuff, because it gives someone that idea that this could change everything overnight. Yeah.
But it's give me money, and your life could change.
Yeah.
You know?
But like, even if it's like, okay, like you want to go and better yourself, it's like, what is currently at your disposal to use for that, like, that maybe doesn't require money, because money's the most of the time the thing that is in the way of people doing things they want to do. So then it doesn't mean that you can't pursue and try and like attract wealth and do things to like build that. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean you stop doing that. But it's also looking at things that, like what I was saying earlier about things that are like real luxuries that actually you have, like, you know, I know like gratitude and things like that, but even like, you know, with us like going to the gym, it's like that's something every day that we're doing to like better ourselves, that in a way costs money because you need to go to the gym and you need a membership and stuff, but it's not like it's doable right now. And
true, I know what you're saying. I like there are luxuries and things that you can have that don't cost anything, and they're the real. It's like if you wake up every day and you're not in pain, and there's people around you that aren't in pain, the people you love, it's the golden ticket.
Yeah.
And then that's always the basis.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can tick those off,
then
go from there.
Yeah.
You know, I just mean in terms of like, you know, the idea of being like, to have fulfillment in life, it's the, you know, ikigai, right? If to have fulfillment, you've got to have something that you're passionate about, that you can provide for people.
Yeah.
And provides you fulfillment, and you can make money off that. It's like all those things in one. So it's learning how to get a balance between all those things, which if you're healthy and you can pursue all those things at once, that's
incredible.
That's better than the actual attainment of the thing.
That's so true. Like the pursuit,
because it gives you the fulfillment on the day to day.
Happiness, Will Smith.
Oh, but here's more money.
I know. Yeah.
Did he just assault someone on live television in front of all these people?
We're back to that again.
Let's give him more movies.
I know, yeah. Let's not talk about it.
Do you know Mike, who lives in 1800? Well, I shouldn't say where I live. Do you know Mike? He lives in Liverpool. Do you know him? Yeah. Let's make him pay more tax. He made more money this year. Let's give him more tax to pay. When's it due?
I don't think the Hollywood press are in charge of anything.
Not the
like
Hollywood
that.
press. I just mean the world. You know. Oh, but Will Smith pays tax as well.
Oh. Cheese tax.
The cheese tax.
Speaking of cheese tax, I think our dinner's nearly ready.
I think it smells amazing in here, and
maybe we call it there.
That sounds good.
And we call this episode
Illuminati. Conspiracy
theories, alpha males, and trying to pursue happiness.
Love it.
In a world of shit.
Brackets Will Smith.
Brackets the Will Smith fiasco all over again. Okay.
Thanks so much
for
for
listening,
tuning in,
guys.
Everybody. Have a great week.
Take it easy. Take care. I know what the weather's shit. Just call it an early autumn and get some books in. That's what I'm doing. It's just a really early autumn. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.